Ah, very good, very good.
Okay. I just started the live on my YouTube just to check like if it's happening or not. Uh, yes, I hope it's working. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So I'm not yet prepared that what to say, what not to say. If I'm making any mistake in between, so please do correct me, the people who are there. So, and additionally, just to mention, uh, I have two-person here. One person is Abhishek, who will be like mostly teaching us in between. Okay, and I will be also contributing with him as well. And Maureen in coming days help us with Azure account most probably or something. So coming days we shall also start with Azure and AWS both at a
Sorry,
time.
sorry, is it for today?
No,
Or are we
actually
doing?
from no, actually for today I will be mostly like going with like theory parts mostly. So don't worry about today. Okay. And we will be starting with first AWS and when required the Azure access, I will let you know before that. No worries.
Okay, no problem. I'll just try to set it up as well.
No issues. You can take your time. It's not like today. I will ask you maybe day after tomorrow or something later.
All right, no problem.
Yeah. Okay. So let me open some whiteboard. Okay. Just to ask, like, I think people are joining. So let's like start on like in five. That what is it? It's 11:04 p.m. in India right now. So let's start at 11:05 so that people can join in and at that beginning. And okay. Okay, just to ask to everyone, you can use the chat if you don't want to open the mic. How many people are completely new to the cloud? Because like such that I will be like going through, and how many people are knowing cloud and etc. Yeah, Vida. Do you want to say something, Abhita? Okay. Yeah, Nivita. Do you want to say something? I'm new. Okay, okay, I'm new. Okay, okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, just like before beginning, just to say, like I would request to everyone, not as a prerequisite, uh, but to say like if you could learn in between, so that would be best. Okay, the Linux operating system, so that could be best. I hope. Okay, let me turn on my camera so that you can see me. Oh, my camera will not be access here. Okay, fine. Okay, so coming back to here. Okay, so most people, I'm just going directly with the cloud first. Okay, and before like going cloud, I think like we should know the what is behind that. So how many people know about what is server and etc. Anyone know? Like from the beginner, I would ask. Any idea what is server and anything? Okay, no answer. Okay, fine. So what happens? We use operating system, right? The operating system we have like we generally use Windows operating system. In server, we generally use. All right, that's good. So we in server we sorry in office or in production we use server. Right? So we have like what is this like client operating system we use in our home, which we know as a client operating system, fine. And another is a server operating system, which we say server OS. So client OS you might heard about, like there is a Ubuntu. If I say from the Linux side, if I say about from Windows side, there is a Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows 11, and etc. Fine. In server OS, there are two different families you can say, and there's multiple families are there, but I'm just taking from two different family. One is the Windows and another is a Unix. Fine. So under Windows, you might see different versions are there, such as if I'm taking very old, like 2008, then 2012, then 2016, 10, 22, and now 25. Fine. And then these are the server models are there from the Windows. And in Unix, there are different like server are there, such as Red Hat. Then you have CentOS, which is the free version of it. Currently, people are migrating to who are using CentOS. People are migrating to Elma Linux. Fine. Then people who are new to Linux, they always prefer to use Ubuntu, Ubuntu as server. Then some people has different architecture. They use SUSE Linux. Suppose if you may know about SAP, so app SAP used SUSE using SUSE Linux. There's a open SUSE. There's a SUSE Linux Enterprise and the Open SUSE. These two are available. So this is what the server. Fine. These are
We can call it different flavors, like that.
correct. You can call it different flavor. Absolutely correct. So these are the different flavors. Now let me just understand what this server does and what this like client OS does. Client OS nothing but like your day-to-day activity what we do, that what the client OS do. Fine. When we do something na, so client OS hold all the things as the temporary files, cache and etc. So many things has happens. And when gets lost, what we do, we go to temp or tmp in our run, then we delete these files. Server also happens these things, but server happens these things very low. Okay, what server is basically utilized with some roles and features. Say suppose I'm just going here little technical here. Okay, say suppose you have a like need that my office colleagues are sitting here and there and here and there, suppose. Okay, now they are working on a file. Say suppose he is working on file A, he is working with file B, he is working with file C, and he is working with file D. Now they want to collaborate each other with the files. How they will collaborate? Either they will have to use some pen drive, otherwise they have to send the email to everyone that I am updating. So that will be something hectic to manage, because every time they are updating, they have to send the thing. So if we say, can we host a single source of truth that you can store A data, B data, C data, and D data? You all can access the same data or the all data at a time at the same location, so the people will be happy, right? When people will be happy, so then how we are going to cater this? So to cater this, we need a server called FTP, which is file transfer protocol, right? And under which port it runs on? It runs on port 21, correct? So if you know networking, so this is the gate. We generally suppose we have our room, right? So in our room, how many gates are there? Your main gate, your bedroom gate, your washroom gate, and if your kitchen has a gate, so there is a gate. So that means different gate has a different designation. So here in networking, we have some different gates to access different services. Fine. So For that FTP, we use port number 21. Fine. Now, to like cater these things, what we have hosted a FTP service to make it available every time. What we had used as our operating system, that is server. Either we may have leveraged Windows Server, either we have may have leveraged Linux Server. It depends. It depends upon like our what is it, like company requirement and etc. It depends. Fine. That is the thing. So such that server caters other services such as web server, the thing you always see, the websites. Even I'm working on this website, we are talking on this what is it, like the Google Meet, so that's also hosted on a web server. Next, you might see that so many people are working in a company. That means they have their different email ID, different uh, user ID, and etc. So for that, we use Active Directory server, and that's available under Windows, particularly Active Directory. Fine. And if company don't want to invest anything on Windows, so they will go where? They will go to Linux. That's a free, and they will use Open LDAP. They can leverage Open LDAP as a open solution, open source solution. Fine. So these are what? These are the services as a server that we can cater. Clear? So I hope like it is clear to you all that what is the basic fundamental about a server. If you have any doubts, so feel free to ask me, so I will just continue on that. Any doubts, feel free to unmute yourself, because I cannot see the chat right now because I was erasing. So please unmute yourself and ask if you have any questions. Yes, Anuruddha has like raised a- don't raise hand, just ask me because I cannot see the screen.
I raised it earlier, Dada, not now.
Okay, okay, okay.
Right.
All right, perfect. So going forward, where is my video? Okay. So now you understood the server. So what we say cloud. So this is suppose your cloud, right? That we are going to learn. So cloud is hosted definitely on some server. That means we can say that there are different servers are running. So what happens? Suppose this is a server CPU, we can say the machine where the server is being run. So the cloud company is hosting like maybe lakhs of server at their data center, or maybe in like billions and millions of servers they're running on. So they cannot purchase that billions or trillions server, right? What they are doing, they are purchasing one server and they're hosting different servers as a you can say virtually. This is one server, and it in this server, suppose they are hosting maybe 1,000 server. Fine. So when they are hosting 1,000 server in a single server, the hardware server I'm saying, so that's called, we say that technology as virtualization. Virtualization. Just pardon me if there is any like spelling mistake or anything. Okay. Is virtualization. Fine. So this is what the virtualization what happens. And if I say like very like what is it, like deeply, if I say, so what happens, like virtualization connects with kernel. Kernel communicate with hardware like our CPU, RAM, and etc. Then kernel passes the all the signal to whom? To our operating system, right? And in this kernel and hardware, there is a two different services as happens. One is called post, which is like when we turn on our computer in like old days, I'm saying, not nowadays, we will not hear this. Like in old days, when we suppose turn on our CPU, we heard a sound, a teet, a beep sound happens. That means is post check has happened. Post check checks that whether your keyboard mouse are connected or not, and all your components are working or not. That's the post checks. And also there is a one term also you might heard so many times, that is called BIOS, basic input output system. So it generally manages all our keyboard, mouse, and etc. These things, and this all things are being signals are being thrown to kernel, and kernel is then sending the things onto OS, and which is here is a virtualization. Virtualization then holding the different servers, and different server have different operating system. They can have different operating systems. If it is have Windows, so it can be on Linux, it can be on Macintosh, it can be on like Kali Linux, it can be CentOS, it can be Alma Linux, anything. Fine. They are dependent. Sorry, they are independent. So there is no dependency in between them. Fine. So for virtualization, if I say, there are two type of virtualization are there. Okay, I'm going so fast, I believe. So if again like asking, if you have any doubt in between, so please interrupt me and ask me, because like if you don't understand, I think like there is no meaning to go ahead. Fine. So virtualization is divided under two type. You can say type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is called as bare metal, and type 2 is known as hosted virtualization, you can say. Fine. Bare metal is being used by the cloud provider, and hosted we use in our day-to-day work, like we use VMware. Maybe you have heard VMware Workstation. VMware is the company name. Fine. So in our computer, what we used, VMware Workstation. We have used Oracle VirtualBox, right? Or you can like check out this software as well at your own. This Oracle VirtualBox. Correct. So these are what? These are hosted virtualization. Why it is hosted? Because they need a minimum operating system at your computer first. Then you can install these softwares, and after that you can run your different operating system or the virtual machine. Correct. But in bare metal, we can directly install the virtualization, such as most company uses VMware. Yes, someone wants to speak. So most company uses premium software known as VMware ESXi, and those company do not have budget, or they want to rely on open source, so they use Proxmox. You can check this out, this software. Okay. So these are the like, this is bare metal. So bare metal looks like, if I like show you VMware ESXi console. It looks like this. This yellow screen will come up when you install the VMware ESXi on your computer, the server. How you are going to access? You will get, see, you will get here IP address here. If is this, it will be better. So you see here is the IP address. You have to like dial this IP address from your another computer browser which is on same network. Fine. Then you will be landing on this control page. Then you can manage all your servers will be here, and you can manage all your virtual machines here, and you can like control and whatever deployments are there and etc. You can manage those things. So that happens where? That happens to the cloud end. Fine. And like Microsoft is having VM, sorry, Hyper-V is there. Okay, so Microsoft uses Hyper-V. So we can also use the Hyper-V as well. Either Hyper-V is like available at two type. One is like hosted and bare metal as well. Fine. So this is the backend of cloud. Fine. So any doubt, any questions, please ask. Or any feedback or anything like I am going fast. My like what is this? The way I am trying to teach is not too good or need improvement or anything. Like please interrupt me and do let me know. Okay. So I will just jump to cloud now. Okay. So we have cloud basically you can say like four different types of clouds are there which school says, but in generally if we are going with some certifications and etc we will here three types of clouds are available. One is called private cloud, another is called public cloud, and the last one is known as hybrid cloud. Fine. So what is private cloud? Private cloud is suppose you are hosting a cloud service at your own company's on premises, mean your company's server location you have deployed your services. You are exposing that to your company employees via some VPN and etc. So then you are exposing that thing. So that is called as a private cloud. Fine. If you are using Azure, AWS, GCP, Oracle Cloud, then DigitalOcean, and so many are there, IBM Cloud, Alibaba, and so on. Those are known as public cloud because anybody can go their website and register themselves. Fine. And if your company says that I want to leverage something from AWS, something from Azure, and something from my on premises, I want to mix the thing, then we say that's a hybrid cloud. Clear? Any doubt, any questions? People are very silent. That means people are very talented. Okay, perfect.
No, we're not silent. We're still listening.
No, people are talented. That's why like they are like gaining the
We are,
knowledge so
we
easily.
are, we are, we are not silent. We are just doing absolutely well. It's
Okay,
just flowing
okay,
well.
okay. Okay, my
If
bad,
you
my
have
bad.
issue, we interrupt you when you have issue.
All right, all right.
Okay, Pijoy asks what is multi
Okay. So next thing is that when we go to cloud, we might get to like
Suraj,
yeah, yeah, yes.
yeah, there's a question on the
Hmm.
chat
Oh,
whereby somebody's asking what is multi-cloud.
okay. What is multi-cloud? Multi-cloud, you can like you can say, suppose I want to use data lake. I'm just going like in something like to cloud thing. Suppose I want to access the data lake from Microsoft because Microsoft has some good data software such as like Power BI, the Fabric and etc. So I want to leverage the data lake from Azure. Now suppose my data is hosted on my like GitHub or etc. Okay, and say suppose like I am using AWS code commit, like all the code repositories are on my code commit. That means what I'm doing, I'm connecting the AWS to my Azure cloud that they can communicate to each other and they can pull the data. Then it comes to multi-cloud such that you can do suppose VPN, you have some server on Azure, you have some server on suppose on GCP, you want to like communicate with between them, so you can either use VPN, right? So when you are like doing a side to side VPN, so both are connecting and both are communicating, so that means you are leveraging the multi cloud. So why we use multi cloud? Two, you can say two different aspects comes up. First aspect is that Sometimes what happens, suppose Azure is giving these things in cheaper while AWS is like something like higher in cost, or sometimes AWS is cheaper, Azure is sometimes higher in cost. So we can choose or leverage those particular things wherever it is cheaper to me. So I will leverage that thing wherever it is cheaper and I can choose. Fine. And secondly, that I love Azure, you love AWS, so I will only go with this, and I will leverage Azure or AWS very less. I will use Azure or AWS very higher inside, such that you can mix up. There are different things are there. Okay, so you can mix up the things depending upon the like your requirement, challenges, and etc. That's how like things happen. All right.
If the customer is having
Hmm.
something if he's
Mhm.
already having something in his previous uh, cloud, so we just need that to connect to the new cloud. They just want to migrate and all. So at that case also we would need multi-cloud.
Yeah, see, migrate, if I say na, migrate means we are moving. We are no more using that. Correct.
Okay,
That, if I'm not wrong, migrate means what? Like, suppose I'm staying in right now in Kolkata, right? I'm going to Mumbai. That means I'm no more Kolkatian, right? I'm no more like
right.
in Kolkata. I'm now Mumbai person. Correct. So that is the thing. Like when we are
Yes, new
migrating,
plus
that's
basically.
not
Yeah.
like we can say we
Okay.
cannot say that multi-cloud. Correct.
Right. Right.
That's the thing.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So moving ahead. So in Azure, sorry, in cloud, we might get three different terms, and that's will be your lifetime term will be there. One we say IaaS. Second we say PaaS, and lastly we say SaaS. Fine. These three are actual term. Fine. Now, for a marketing sake, for a sales perspective, people have created so many things, such as DAAS, then like AIaaS, maybe MLAAS, maybe anything like AAAS will come up. Fine. Generally, if we are preparing for ourselves for a certification, I would recommend to remember these three only. Fine. One is for the first is called as IaaS, which we say infrastructure as a service. Fine. Second is PaaS, which is we say platform as a service, and the last is SaaS, which is a software as a service. I will just demo like give you a like image so that we can understand the differences. This should be like good image, I hope. Let me just open this image in a new tab. Image quality is not good. Yeah, this image quality could be good. Yeah, perfect. So you see, this on premises mean your company data center or your server area or your help desk area, whatever you say, your IT infrastructure. In simple word, your IT infrastructure. Now we come to the infrastructure as a service. What is infrastructure as a service? In cloud, so far so I know, I may be wrong, there is only one service as an infrastructure as a service, and that is EC2 instance in AWS, and in Azure we have a virtual machine, and in GCP that's compute engine. And it's simple, it's a virtual machine. Why? Because it says that the green things you manage and the orange thing is being managed by the service, the cloud provider. So application, what is application? The thing we will be deploying, the thing we will be hosting, right? Maybe like you are using YouTube as an application. So that means somebody has coded that thing, somebody has like created that application, and somebody has to host that application to somewhere so that that can be served to the people. Correct. That means the application is all time, you can say, is always our case. fine, and we have to manage the thing. When application is like getting the data from the user, processing the data from the user, who will be handling that? I, because your virtual machine is something like a computer, so I have to manage the everything, right? Then comes the runtime. What is runtime? Suppose I am like saying Python. So Python has what? Flask. Flask is the engine, you can say. So if I'm thinking like that, so Flask is my engine. What that will be like? Python will be my runtime. If I'm using Java or Spring Boot, Hibernate, and etc. So my runtime would be Java, which is a JDK, Java Development Kit. If we are running C++, so C++ would be my runtime. And what's middleware? Middleware is nothing but like the hosting engine that is like helping us to communicate with the, what is it, like the main host operating system, which is the, you can say, ESXi. Fine. Then comes the operating system. The operating system we choose while we deploy our virtual machine to the server, such that there are plenty of like you will see that plenty of operating systems are there, like Windows 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, whatever it is there, or Linux and etc. So you can choose, but you cannot choose the virtualization, correct? That you should use the EC2, sorry, ESXi only, or you should use Proxmox only. You cannot choose that. Servers, you cannot tell that I need that server on that rack. The data center has some different racks, right? And they have multiples of what is this, the date servers are being put in on. So you cannot say that I need X server or Y server. While suppose I have 5 different VM and I want to deploy that 5 different VM in single server, that I can say. But I cannot say that you choose that server only from that track or that location. So that's being managed by the cloud provider. Then comes the storage, and storage is also being maintained by the cloud provider. Cloud provider just provides us the like storage as a, like, what is this, like rental kind of thing. You will not managing the actual hard disk or the actual SSD. Whatever you are paying for, you will be getting that storage only, like a rental thing, right? And the networking, it's, we can set up the network, but the actual network is being managed by the service provider. And front end network, we can like choose that how our network should be deployed, how our network should be designed, that we can manage, but we cannot manage the backend network. Fine. That's called the infrastructure as a service, and host service in cloud is VM or the virtual machine. Clear? Next is a platform as a service, which we say PaaS. What is platform as a service? You see that we can only manage the data and the application. Rest all the things we cannot manage. So that means if I say a database in, if I say like in Azure, so we have Azure MySQL, Azure MS SQL, or if I say on AWS, হুম, দেখছি তুমি যাও। So in AWS, we have RDS, we have Neptune, we have Document DB, we have Dynamo DB, and so on, right? হুম। Okay, আমি পড়াচ্ছি, আমি পরে কথা বলছি, পরে কথা বলছি। So this is what we manage, what the application we are deploying. So on database there is no application definitely, so we manage the data. If suppose it is a lambda, so we can deploy our what is this, the code, the script we want to run. In Azure it is Azure function or maybe logic apps, right? So we can leverage, we can use our own script or own data, own application to like perform some activities that we want, and so that we leverage the platform as a service. Why? because it is less costlier than infrastructure as a service. So infrastructure service is a higher in cost, and platform as a service is lesser in a cost than infrastructure as a service. Fine. And then comes the last service, which is a software as a service, which is like extremely lesser than any of the solution which we see here. Software as a service, we cannot manage anything. Like if I say, হ্যাঁ নিয়ে যাও এখন কথা বলবে না যাও নিয়ে যাও so so you will see that Microsoft 365 is one of the solution in Microsoft side. In Google side, you might see that the Google Drive, then Google Meet, Google Classroom, and so many things are there. What we can do, we can just use that software. Data is being managed by the cloud provider, application is being managed by the cloud provider, everything, the updates and anything, whatever things are coming, everything is being managed by them. We only pay the cost of license. Clear? So in here, if anyone have any doubts, so feel free to ask. Okay. So you understood that what is IaaS, what is PaaS, and what is SaaS. Now we might have heard this DaaS. Sometimes DaaS, known as, sometimes people say is database as a service. Sometimes people say desktop as a service. Okay. IaaS like AIaaS like AI as a service, MLOps or ML as a service. So you can leverage any everything. Like you might heard about Hugging Face is one of the like popular website in ML. So if you do not have suppose the storage at your computer, so you can ask Hugging Face that I want to use this ML model. So please give me that model. So Hugging Face will give you that model, right? The access of that model. That means what we can say? We can say it's a platform as a service. I am deploying my code. I am hosting my code, but rest of the things are being managed by the Hugging Face, right? So this is how like cloud things happen. Next, when we go to cloud, that means we have a cost, and cost is most important part. In cloud, before we move to cost, we must to know some like one or two term in what is it like commerce language. One we say cap x. Just allow me 1 second. Sure. Mira. Sorry, my daughter came in between. Okay, so there is a two term which is capex and there is a opex. Fine, these are the commerce term. So what is capex?
I think that's
Yes.
fine. I couldn't see the screen. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. So capex mean when suppose we are purchasing a server on our on premises. So what happens? We invest, suppose like I'm using here like INR, which is Indian currency. Okay, like 10 lakh rupees for the entire server cost I'm investing. Fine. Now what I have like purchase suppose like 64 CPU, uh, CPU, CPU 64 core CPU and like 128 GB of RAM. Fine. Now what happens? Like some we might think that okay, now my server needs some extra memory or CPU. What should I have to do? Then again, we have to install our some like resources to our server. We have to put something to our server. We have to reinvest, suppose like another 2 lakhs rupees or etc. Right? So that is what, if next 5 years later that no more traffic are coming up, that means we might use 32 core CPU and 64 GB RAM would be enough by any chance. Can we reduce? In general terms, no, because we cannot sell or anything, right? We cannot scale the thing, and that's how we lock our capital expense. Capex means the capital expenditure. So we lock our one time fund in a thing that's locked, and that's why people wants to move to Opex, which is we say operational cost. And whatever the thing you are going to use, you just pay for that. That's why you might heard a term called PAYG, which is known as pay as you go. That means if I'm like using a server for 10 minutes, so I have to pay for 1 hour because it's a unit. Suppose I want to use like one database server for 1 hour, so I will be paying for 1 hour only. It might be anything, it might be like very higher in size, very lower in size, but I have to pay the chunks of money, not the entire cost. And that's why cloud is going too fast. And if people says that is capex is not there on cloud, yes, capex is also there on cloud, but that is not directly. We cannot say that is a capex. But if I say like in company accounts book, that is capex. That's called we say reserve instance. We say reserve instance. Suppose I need a virtual machine for next 3 years, and I know that that will be needed for me for next 3 years. Fine. So instead going with pay as you go, the cloud provider is saying that you come with 3 years upfront cost to me. I will be giving you away like 60% cost reduction if you are paying me upfront that 3 years cost. So company would say, yeah, I have to go with 3 years because my server will be running for maybe next 10 years or 20 years or maybe so long. So why shouldn't I go with 3 years commitment? I will put the 3 years amount in front of them, and I will be getting the 60% cost difference. And in company's book, what is this? It will be known as capex. Fine, because it's a capital expenditure. He has made a capital expenditure. What if he has not made any commitment, but he was doing the every month the billing is coming and he is doing, so that would have been known as Opex or a operating expenditure, operating expenditure, operational expenditure, something. So you can check it out. So that would have happened. Fine. So that is the main thing happens to cloud. Fine. So that's it. Like that's how you can like learn the things. Next to what I could say for you as a homework, go and check out what is well architected framework at your own. Go and check out what is well architected framework. Understand these things. Wherever you have doubt, like you can ask on the group so that people can also got to know that what is your doubt. People will know, and later we will definitely take this up and will continue. So till now, do if you have any queries and questions, so feel free to ask. So I'm ending here the thing. So any question, anyone? No question?
Is there any limitations for that what services we can use in the reserve instance and all? So is there any limitations for that, or any service can be reserved for the
See,
next 3 years or 4 years?
for limitation, if I say there are quota, we say there's a quota is there. Okay, so that like you do not overuse the things which is actually not needed to you. So say suppose like I want a like SKU which is like known as stock keeping unit, right, in accounting thing and etc. So suppose like XYZ is the SKU that is showing as not available to me. I can request that to AWS or Azure that I want that SKU because I want to host my virtual machine to that SKU. So please allow me that. So Azure or AWS maximum takes 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So they will allow you for that. Or you might see that in AWS, if I say there are some different regions are there. Okay. So like if you don't see that region, you can ask the AWS that please enable that for me. So AWS will enable for you. And that's you just don't have to go anywhere. You just go on the settings, you can enable by yourself as well. Okay. So such things like there are quota, you can say there's no limitation. There are quota are there, so you can like leverage that quota if you want to increase the quota. Either you can do it if it is possible, and sometimes if it is not in your hand, so you can ask like the your cloud provider that I'm looking for this solution. Please help me with that, so that cloud provider will help you on that.
Okay, okay, Dada. So, Dada, one another question I have. So, for example, if we are having gaming software that is running on the cloud, right? So, you don't know, or we don't know that what would be the usage on that software. Maybe it may hype by night, right? So, I felt that taking the reserve service would reduce me the costing. So I just asked Google or something like that. He give me for 3 years a certain amount of VM and certain amount of configuration. So if it happens that suddenly a huge spike comes, so what happens at that? Will the service go down or it is
Yeah,
scalable?
server will go down
Uh,
because you have not turned on the scalable thing like explicitly.
right.
You have to turn on the
So at,
like auto scaling explicitly. Otherwise, like
hmm,
the things will not happen.
okay. So in reserve also the auto scaling works, Dada, because the cost is same for that or something
Yes,
like that.
yes.
Okay. Okay.
That's
Auto scaling work on that. Okay.
most probably yes. Like I have to double check on that because I never worked with that like reservation or auto scaling. But I hope yes,
Okay.
because what reservation does that like
Hmm.
you generally reserve the SKU. You don't reserve the VM. You reserve the SKU, the model number, you can say. So the
Okay. Okay.
like suppose I'm utilizing two server, so I have paid for one server only. So I will be charged for one server. If I have paid for two servers reserve instance, so my auto scaling is happening for two server, then also it will be going to deduct from that service. If my auto scaling is not happening, then my loss because I already paid for that.
Right. Right.
Fine. So that's the
Yes.
actual logic, but again, like you can double check because I have used a reserve instance on Azure because I mostly work with Azure, not in AWS. Okay, so that's the thing like happened to me because I have like maybe 15 or 16 VM on my tenant. So I have like a reserve instance. So that reserve instance works with this only.
Oh, okay. Then. Okay.
That SKU
I
is.
will check on that. I will check on it.
Yeah. All right. So other people, any questions, any doubt, feel free to ask. Nobody. That okay. So I'm then wrapping up. Like if you guys have any questions or queries, so feel free to like drop message on the WhatsApp group, so other people can like gain the same knowledge, whatever you have the doubts and etc. So people can like other people may also contribute at that, or I can also contribute at that. Yes, Maureen, you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to just uh, make I don't know, a suggestion, or maybe because we are different. So when it comes to cloud concepts, like, it's not really everyone who knows what everything is. Like, I don't think everyone has worked with the technologies,
Correct.
right? I come from a chemical engineering background, and I train Azure. So what I normally do to bridge the gap between people who don't know the cloud and the knowledge that I have, or the knowledge that I've gained, is that I make like everyday examples.
Okay.
Like, take
Okay.
for example, right? When I'm doing a walkthrough through, for example, explaining your private, your public, your hybrid cloud. I make a simple everyday example, like maybe saying that your private cloud is like your typical ownership of your car, right? Whenever I talk about, especially when I'm talking about introduction to cloud computing, I talk about ownership.
Hmm.
I illustrate ownership, like you're owning your own cafe, for example, when we're talking about your private cloud, right? When it comes to public cloud, it's like ordering a coffee, right? Illustrating how each one component works, right? When it comes to owning your own cafe, your expenses. When it comes to just going inside as a company under public cloud, what are your expenses, right? Like, those are the things that I normally do, or maybe those are the things that I normally do to just bridge the gap between people who don't really know the cloud and people who know the cloud, so that they can have a visual, um, a visual picture of everything that happens, even though they're not familiar
Hmm.
with, yeah, with the cloud.
I see.
That's
I
what I
see.
normally do anyway.
Excellent. Excellent. Actually, the thing is that like I like never, what would I say, like taught people okay on the cloud and etc. I generally like have people as my friend and etc. I go casual and say them that this is that, and you can learn this way. So that's the thing. Like you, like being a professional trainer and being a like professional teacher, you can say, okay, a mentor, whatever. So you know the actual practice that okay, my students has this mindset, that means this is my like I have to go in that way, this is my students capability, I have to go in that way that they can learn in a fun way. Actually, I don't know, like the first thing first, that how to like go with this one way and this like different approaches. I like like no training on that. I have no training first. Okay. Like I work as a senior cloud engineer at my company. So like I know the technology. I do not know the like how to teach. But I tried. I'm trying that if my knowledge can be shared to the community, if some people may get help with my knowledge. And that's why I'm asking every people that please let me know that what are the improvement points that I have to make on, or you may also like contribute if I'm wrong by any chance, or maybe lagging by any chance somewhere. Because see, everyone has a different knowledge set, everyone has a different knowledge base. I mentioned like to my friend Tharindu, okay, and who has inspired me to come to this YouTube. And I also said him that see, you may know something, I may know something. So what will happen? Like if we breach that gap, then there will be like the perfect area to learn. And that's what I asked, but I don't know like how things will go on, because like I like what is it, he already left the call. So I asked him, I forgot his name, like something starts with A. So he mentioned that he will be like taking care of the like coming practical classes on AWS. So I said him, okay, you take care of the practical things, I will be taking care of the theoretical things, so that people can understand. Okay. So I will try to improve myself definitely. like coming days I will learn from you guys as well, like what are the lagging areas I do have. So I will definitely like going to have those things. So thanks Maureen, thanks for your like what is this feedback and the suggestion, and I appreciate if people are giving me feedback. I really appreciate that, because there is no harm and there is nothing to lose, right? There's always the area to improve and there's always area to learn, and that's what we are looking at this community. And I hope community will go beyond and we can gain something more. I hope, let's see things how things go on. That's it. So anybody wants to add anything, or should we like wrap up the call?
Yeah, there is a question in the message, and
Thanks.
someone is asking that are virtual machines still widely used in modern cloud computing?
Are virtual machines is still widely used in modern cloud computing? If I say na, modern cloud computing, virtual machine is used. The people who don't know about the like what is the managed services, okay, and if I say virtual machine is still used, not widely, I can say, but like kind of in my understanding, like 40-60% ratio is happening. Like 40% still what is this? Virtual machines are there, 60% is managed service. If I say why, in my personal experience, I'm saying, okay, suppose I generally work with Azure, so I'm giving you the experience on that. I have recently deployed a WordPress on Azure App Service. Okay, and the changes he's trying to make through FTP, that's not getting happen. So what he has to do, he has to go to the SSH terminal to the app service, then whatever the changes he is going to make, and that's going to happen. And if I'm leveraging a pipeline, then pipeline will deploy the code. But at the back end, Azure App Service is using a Docker instance, and that's get like downloaded, then Docker pull, Docker build, Docker run, and so many things happens. And that takes approximately 3 to 4 minutes. And if we are using a simple virtual machine, that time will not take. It's like go to the service, sorry, go to the WinSCP or FileZilla, anything, any software, you can just go and edit the file and the changes got reflected within a seconds. That's the benefit in virtual machine rather than app service. Sorry, not app service, the like managed services. And managed services are sometimes what happens now, you cannot change the things, there are limitations. Again, like if I'm saying you like Azure MySQL, okay, so Azure MySQL in generally you would have to have a certificate installed on your computer. You have to download a their root CA certificate, then only you can connect. But in our instance we don't do that thing. So developer will say, what are you saying that I have to like add as a certificate to my code? I cannot change the code. People are lethargic nowadays, so they don't want to change any code, anything. That means that modern technology is going to become a hindrance to you. Fine. Only it will be beneficial to you when your entire team is ready to accept the changes. And it's good at something, it's bad at something. So I just tried to give you the good and bad thing. So good is like you're cost effective, you don't have to manage the thing, and the updates and etc. is all things are being managed by the cloud provider. And the bad thing, the biggest bad thing, you know what? You will not get no support from Azure, AWS, or anything. If you want support, pay for the support plan, go with some standard support plan and etc, then you are going to get support. Otherwise wait for the community response. And what about the production is down for next 2 days. No, that will not be happening, right? That's why we leverage either Docker, either Kubernetes, or either the virtual machine. So that's what in my knowledge, but that I know. Like if people has any like another concern on that, or if I'm wrong by any chance, or like if like my thinking is sometimes like something is not suitable, so please comment. My pleasure, Kavya.
All right. I would like to just add a little something there. Like, remember that we have infrastructure as a service,
Correct.
we have platform as a service,
Hmm.
we have software as a service, right? So what we have to go back to is what does virtual machines fall under? So when it comes to that, virtual machines, they fall under infrastructure as a service. Infrastructure as a service is nothing but rental of service, right? So we need to keep that in mind that not everyone is going to be renting the service, right?
Correct.
So the people who mainly will be doing this rentals service with the virtual machines, it will be your IT administrators most of the times. Those are the people who use these virtual machines most of the time. They are
Hmm.
still widely used, yes.
Correct. That's what I tried to say because I worked mostly with as a system admin and desktop support engineer in my early career. I started cloud last 1 year only. Okay. And with my this limited knowledge, I'm trying to give my limited knowledge to you all. And I don't know like how far it will go and how far I can go. I will like try to reteach myself, relearn the things again for you all, and I will definitely come up with the things that what real worlds look for, how we are going to save the cost, how we are going to like leverage the open source technologies. I will try to bring those things for you all, and let's see like how things going on. All right. So any questions, any doubts? So please put me on like on WhatsApp group. So I will be like having all the things on the WhatsApp, and that's it from my side. So wrapping up for the day. So see you in the next video.
Well done, Suraf. Bye.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you
you. Bye
very much.
bye. Bye everyone. Bye bye.